Hi, my name is Paul Schursch and welcome to my shop. Welcome to the third class of this series on making a jewelry box. The lid has now been glued and it looks like it should be dry. Yep. And it is time to thickness it down to the proper thickness, which will be 1/2 of an inch. So doing this by hand would involve a bench and a good scrub plane or a good jack plane. And one can start working it down. Now I can keep on working at this for a little while, but you know, if I have a thicknesser, I would actually prefer to use that. Now that the lid is thicknessed down to the proper thickness, which is 1/2 inch, it is time to glue on those strips that we cut off very early in the process. They'll go right here in the middle, and I can always sand this later because there's no real captured grain. I don't have edges on the end grain, it's only on the side, so it'll be relatively easy for me to sand after these are glued up. Now I have already trimmed this lid down, as you know, and so it should be at the proper thickness. Now one way of being able to set this together, what I use a lot is I use these bricks to kind of hold or stabilize things so I can at least get the first clamp on. There we go. That looks good. Now it's ready for me to put the first clamp on. Okay. Now the one on the other side. Adjust this over a little bit. Need to get the same reveal, both sides. That looks good. Just allowed enough room that if I need to adjust it for any wind or any warp, I have a little bit to plane off of here where it sits onto the casework. Okay. In preparation for finishing this lid, there's a number of things that I could do to it. It's a solid wood lid, so I could do a bas-relief or some kind of carving on it. I could do some kind of an inlay, or I can decorate it with banding. There's many different things that I could do with it. This is just a simple lid, but like in the third class of this series, or the final class of this series on doing a marquetry medallion, that would be a place to insert some kind of an inlay. I really want to get rid of all the glue that I can on the surface, because if any remains on the surface, then it will show up, or it potentially shows up in the finishing. It won't absorb the finish in the same way because there's glue which is actually sealing the wood fibers. Okay. So I'm going to be trimming the floor to fit into the box and the lid to fit on the other side. Good. The lid now has about a 1/16 of an inch gap, which I'll distribute in the middle. That'll be 1/32 of an inch clearance on either side. And it looks like I'm ready for final sanding and hinging the lid. Okay, the floor has now been cut to size, and I have pre-drilled some screw holes. Now it's time to drill. Okay, the lid is now completely cut, so it passes within the framework. The edges have been sanded, and I want to make sure that I get rid of all the saw marks here. That might take a lot of extra sanding to get rid of those saw marks, but now when they're all finished, or when they're all finished sanded, and all the edges and everything detailed out, it should look really nice. So that's all for now. Next time we meet, we'll be hinging the lid, gluing fabric onto the floor, making the knob out of that little piece of walnut, and starting our final finish for this jewelry box. Bye for now.